for true.
Welcome to Duality Check, the podcast where two brothers embark on a journey through the realms of scientific inquiry, the mysteries of the past, and the uncharted frontiers of spirituality. Join us as we explore the wonders of our world and beyond, all while embracing the roles of curious bystanders rather than experts. Together we'll unravel the tapestry of existence, blending the dichotomies of knowledge and wonder. Get ready to question, ponder, and delve into the dualities that shape our understanding of reality on Duality Check. I'm Drew.
And I'm Dean, and welcome to episode 55.
That was definitely our first take, by the way. Just kidding, I just had to clear my throat. Anyway, yeah, 55.
Yeah.
We got another grab bag, I think.
Welcome to...
But it's going to have a little bit of a flow to it, I feel like.
Yeah, this is the first time we're recording in 2025, although our previously recorded episode was recorded...
Yes.
Last year. It will be out
at the beginning of this year.
This coming week.
Yeah.
Anyway, it'll be out in January. But yeah, so I had ended up on 2 episodes ago. I was like, I think we can get this out by Christmas. And then the sickness and all the Christmas.
Yeah, all the there's too much going on.
That just fell apart. And I was like, you know what, Drew? We deserve a week off. So we just took a week off.
After we were already late.
Yeah.
So, yeah, screw it.
Plus, we got over 52 episodes in a year. So, boom.
That's true.
So, we've got a little bit of follow-up on lots of stuff. And then if we got time, I've got a... interesting document. Did you watch that? You watched that Y-Files?
Yeah.
So I'll be linking to this
the most recent one.
if we have time to get into it today. But the recent Y-Files episode about this interview with like a reptilian named Lacerta.
Mm-hmm.
And their whole episode was kind of talking about that, and I thought it was pretty cool. It was fun. We have no like proof that it's real or anything, but
it brings in the reptilians and like basically the Anunnaki and that whole kind of style of story, but like
and so there's a whole
perspective.
like transcript of this like supposed interview with this like reptilian.
Yeah, we both had the same idea too, because I immediately after the episode was over, I went and found it in their show notes and clicked on it, and I had it saved because I wanted to read through it. So it's perfect that we're gonna do that a little bit today. Maybe, hopefully, we get to it by the end.
I think we'll get to it, I don't know if we'll get all the way through it, but either way, it should be fun to talk about. But anyway. Sure. I do recommend watching that Y-Files episode. Maybe we'll just play the intro of that Y-Files episode so that he can kind of like set up the context and then we'll go into the actual interview. And then watch the rest of the Y-Files for kind of all the extra details they're able to put together on it because it's good.
Yeah, they do a good job telling the story.
They pull little quotes from the interview, but they don't like go over the whole thing. So I think it'd be fun for us to do that.
True. That's true. We'll do that, and you can go watch his video for the AI that he's using now with the overdubbed voices now.
They did this really cool effect where they like made an AI depiction of this like reptilian,
supposed
alien-looking thing.
Person.
And then they use like the AI to video, like the image to video and like lip syncing AI technologies to actually make it look like that AI character is saying the lines.
It's obvious that it's not.
And like an AI voice generator and everything. Mm-hmm. Like they went full thing to like try and recreate. Yeah. And it was pretty cool.
It definitely gets you into the story more.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
he probably does
cool for that.
Much cheaper than having to have a full team doing this, you know?
Yeah, meaning you could definitely burn some time, burn some hours, burn some money on trying to get it just right.
That's probably why it wasn't just right.
Right.
You know, like just good enough to like pass and to look pretty cool.
Anyway, we got a lot, so let's get into it. Starting out with some listener communications.
Let's start with number one fan. You got ours pulled up?
So our sister sent us a message here. So we had been recommending to her to check out the telepathy tapes, and then of course we just talked about it briefly on the podcast. So she says, "Finished the telepathy tapes podcast. So good. Thanks for the recommendation. I definitely believe all this. I've worked with many individuals who are, quote, differently able." She says in parentheses, "I like this description better than disabled. And a lot of them were nonverbal, and we communicated just fine. The positive energy exchange, respect, and love felt between us allowed us to have good relationship and communicate with each other. Thanks for bringing in the science and some research on this podcast. I tend to skip over those things because if I feel it, I believe it. Oh, she might be talking about the Dean Radin telepathy one.
Possibly.
No, wait, that one's not even.
Well, I think
yet.
she's just referring to the telepathy tapes in general because we brought it up to her and now she's researching it and they're using science now. So because she's now being able to like she's saying she feels it, so she believes it, but now she can see the science that backs up that feeling and that belief, right?
Yeah, I wish it was that easy for me. Like I feel it and I want to believe it, but then I get all skeptical because I feel like I need some sort of scientific grounding on like why I should take it seriously. So like unless I have both, I have a hard time like diving all in on something.
Yeah, she's more saying she believes it, feels it first, and then the science maybe comes and backs it up later. But she doesn't really search those things out necessarily, is what she's saying.
Yeah. She said, I'm so excited, Dean, that you're exploring the tarot. Yeah. Your deck is beautiful. Thanks for sharing it with me. I've been practicing tarot for...
Did you bring it with you?
No, it's at home. But
you have to leave it at home?
Huh?
Can you take it with you?
I can take it with me.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have to leave it at home. I'll bring it so you can see it next time.
Right.
Yeah. She said, your deck is beautiful. Thanks for sharing it with me. I've been practicing tarot for many years and it's always helps me. I do a beginning of the year spread and each month I draw cards for the month to help me with anything I'm going through that month or will go through. I have 5 decks. They are all so beautiful with different messages. I've only experienced positivity from this practice and wish you well on your journey with them. Heart. Akashic Records was mentioned. I've had a reading. Keep exploring this. Love you guys. Hope you're feeling better. Yeah. I am feeling better. Are you feeling better?
I'm feeling much better. I had to go get some antibiotics because I had a pretty gnarly that last time we recorded.
Yeah,
my ears were hurting so bad.
Right.
And yeah, that night I was having a hard time sleeping, so I went and got some antibiotics because it was definitely a sinus infection.
That knocked it down pretty good for you.
Yeah, no, the last few days have been much better. Today being the best of all of those. So
nice. Yeah, I feel pretty much back to normal now.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Just the tiniest bit of like little congestion in one like nasal thing.
My right ear randomly will like fall out, like I can't hear out of it like randomly still because it felt like there's like fluid.
Feels like it's clogging up.
It feels like it's clogged. Yeah,
like pressure in there.
But it's like pressure that just blocks it. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, thank you, Amy. Again, I do recommend Telepathy Tapes to everybody. I want to figure out a way to cover it on this without like feeling like we're giving you an excuse to not listen to the source. Because you got to hear it from the source because she has actual interviews with the people involved, with the spellers and with the parents and with the teachers and with scientists, and like her like whole presentation is really well done. And yeah, I don't want to take away from that by like just covering snippets here.
Well, now I want her to get their documentary out and
right,
not have too many people already know everything about it and then move on from it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, not that we're big enough to like blow her. But
it would definitely contribute.
Maybe we can just reach out, ask for an interview with her, which is something we're hoping to get into more this year. Is like start taking interviews
that would be
and
cool.
stuff. So
yeah, that would be cool.
Anyway. Thank you, Amy. All right, so we got a couple other comments, some on YouTube. We got one just 2 days ago from Greg.
Greg is back.
Who's been messaging us for months now. So thank you, man. I really appreciate that you're still listening. And he says, I wish you Happy New Year, guys. All the best. And for your awesome channel to grow. Good health and new knowledge and prosperity in material and non-material sense. All the best. And thank you so much, Greg. I really appreciate that. Well. Means a lot to us that you're still following along here and that this podcast can appeal to people. So
Absolutely.
we're still growing. We're still tiny, but this is our goal this year is to start growing more.
Yeah, this is our goal here, to have some people who want to, have conversations and get involved.
Happy New Year back at you, and we wish you a great year as well.
And then we missed some from a couple of months ago.
Yeah, there was an interesting one.
So
here.
from James McPherson, 2018, I'll read the bottom one here. And this is, I'm trying to remember what episode this made.
It says here.
Oh, it's right here.
It's
So
Lou
Lou
Elizondo.
Elizondo, that's right.
Yeah.
So as always, keep in mind that you have no way of understanding what the government's true motivations are without being an insider and have a complete understanding of global events and their long-term plans to consider. I don't believe if someone out of the blue came up to you and said, "Hi, I am a stockbroker and I have a pick of the century that you should bet on, your life savings on," that you would just hand over your life savings to them.
Mm-hmm.
The same idea applies to all the government whistleblowers.
Right.
When they are trying to sell you the news of a lifetime, each one should be scrutinized. And when you find one thing wrong, if you look a little harder, and you soon may find many. You may soon find many. Read these quotes and see if any of them are familiar. Then think about the history of the person that they pertain to. There is no end to how far the government will go to lie to achieve their objective. These quotes certainly apply to the most popular whistleblower. All you have to do is look. And so this is a quote from Bob Durant. Doty had this wonderful way to sell it. I am with government. You cooperate with us, and I am going to tell you what the government really knows about UFOs. And this is another quote from Richard Doty. There is probably about 80% of false information being presented, about 20% of factual information. Unfortunately, the UFO community doesn't know which is which. In the early 80s, it was my job to confuse the UFO community. Mm-hmm. And then from Peter Gersten, Doty found a lot of gullible in the UFO community that would easily believe what he said without any type of scrutiny.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally he says, UFOs and UAPs are real. I am on your side, but we have to be smarter than the government and not make it easy for them.
Right.
It's a great point.
Yeah, that is all a great point.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I think Lou has done a good enough job presenting himself in a certain light that he has at least earned a spot for me as a person whose opinion I would like to consider when UFO topics come about.
Sure. Yeah.
So if he has something
as
to say
far as
on a topic, like we listened to what he had to say about the New Jersey drones.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is evidence that he has put himself and his family at risk to come out with information. And at least what he's saying does push the conversation forward as far as like government whistleblowers go. I mean, he's coming out and straight up saying this shit is real. Now, his bent on it, the idea that maybe they are doing some sort of pre-survey before an invasion, or his idea
prepping the battlefield,
right? The prepping the battlefield idea, or his idea that they do clearly on his definition of representing a threat, I see where he's coming from. Like, basically, as someone who works in national defense, your job is to protect the country from threats
and know about everything that's happening.
Right. So it's hard not to see something with way more capabilities than us and like honestly not call it a potential threat. But that may just be because he never got access or doesn't have the ability to tell the details on if or what any conversations between, officials.
He's got a hard line that he can't cross.
Right. So I think of him as someone I'm interested in, someone who's like takes I want to hear, but someone who I do keep at a cautious arm's length.
Okay. Yeah.
Not ready to just like absorb and believe 100% everything he says without question, right?
Well, then
and that's kind of how I think you have to approach the entire topic, because that's got to be the case for any one particular UFO case. Could be like like a, what's the term? Like a
like a
psyop. Like it could be like a
psyop. Be like a hallucination.
Could be a hoax. Could be, something misleading that like has a bunch of evidence only to be found out to be like a scam and discredit a bunch of the,
like the idea, like the X-Files, like Fox believes so readily that it was, it was true, that when he found out the truth that the government was the one who abducted his sister and forced her into some program. But aliens are real, but the truth of what you have experienced and what you believe is not fully real.
Right.
So they can play this game with all of the information.
With how little we do have confidence, right? Like kind of what he's saying at the end of the message here is like, I also have confidence that the UAP topic, like these things represent something real that's happening.
We just haven't been able to nail down the details.
Nailing down the details is difficult, and taking anyone's 100% word for it is a dangerous move.
Well, yeah, and it is true. I will say that like putting too much importance or spreading something into certain circles and like trying to get people to believe a certain thing, like, is just going to cause so much confusion because people are going to believe the easily easily found to be fake stuff,
right? And
then they're going to run with that, and then it just muddies the water,
right?
Anyway, he says another comment. Says you have to solve the Elizondo paradox. Everyone has to understand the importance of the pre-publication review. If you have a clearance and you are going to publish anything, even sending out resumes, you have to submit it for pre-publication review. Then the government reviews it reviews it looking for anything that may be classified or sensitive. Then you have to remove whatever they find. If you don't and publish it anyway, you will lose your clearance and go to jail. Whatever then gets released after the review does not mean the government condones it or is saying that it is true.
Correct.
Their only concern is that it's not classified.
Correct.
So in Elizondo's Glenn Beck interview, he said he held the Roswell material in his hands. So this can only mean three possible things. The Roswell crash did not happen. In this case, he could say he had tea on the ship with the aliens and the government wouldn't care. He is just making it all up and mixing it with the publicly known lore.
Interesting, right? So that's a valid option because it would, if it's not real, then it's not really national security, and therefore he could basically say whatever he wants about it.
Right.
Okay. Option
2, Roswell is not classified. In this case, you could contact JPL, where he said the material went for testing, and they would be glad to send you a report on their findings. And of course, the government has come out and told everyone Roswell was true.
Interesting. Right, but people do seem to be reaching out to all sorts of places for info on this stuff, and we don't
seem to get nothing, or
it's limited. I mean, a lot of the info we have about Roswell is stuff that we now know after decades of people attempting research on it. But
so as number 3 here, Roswell is classified, and the government is allowing him to say certain things that are classified because it serves their own agenda. That means he is still working for them. There really isn't any other option. This paradox applies to all the other whistleblowers who have done a pre-publication review. If you think these people are telling you anything the government doesn't want you to know, you are fooling yourself.
I mean, yes, but I see he's saying that there aren't other possibilities. Your third possibility is also a good one, but I see a fourth possibility, and maybe even more. There are other possibilities in which Roswell is classified. However, the knowledge of its classification is classified, right? And so the people who do these pre-publication reviews all the information they have access to know what is classified, that they will essentially only classify like names, dates, locations, things that it can identify people. There's a certain lore already out in public about Roswell. Right. And so therefore talking about the quote unquote existence of it may fall in the unclassified section of what is in detail classified, right? So he wouldn't necessarily be able to tell you like what buildings, what has been recovered, what types of things are on photo and video and radar.
So maybe all that he did
in detail recovered, but he can talk about Roswell saying he's seen the materials, because there's nothing specific there that isn't giving any information above and beyond what the public already has access to.
Okay.
But even within that, there's the idea that it's real or fake, and either of those could be classified or unclassified. So I see there being more options. I think it's hard to know for sure, but the point is taken that
stay vigilant on this
because
stuff.
He didn't totally burn his
government bridges.
He's
credentials.
Still a
contractor. Yeah.
He's still a contractor. He still, lives in this country. Like he's not someone who had to like flee the country like Edward Snowden.
Yeah, and the more I hear him talk, I hear that he's like the reason he would be afraid or his family might be in danger is if he ever let something slip.
Right.
That got published.
There is a possibility that, one of the possibilities here in this problem set that he's leaving us here, there is a possibility that sort of Lou's story as he's laying it out is essentially true, which is his essential claim is that there is what is called a legacy program in the government. Mm-hmm. These are the people that have
direct access to the actual information.
The phenomena started picking up. These are the ones who've been doing the crash recoveries, have been doing the biologic recoveries, been trying to do the reverse engineering, and have been trying to misdirect the public and keep it all secret. That is its own deep buried secret organization. And then you have this sort of newer school class of government investigations that was not privy to those special access projects, and so was doing its own independent study of the phenomenon, rubbed up against the legacy program, had conflict, was denied access. And so now you have essentially people of two worldviews, one who is determined to keep this secret at all costs, and one who actually does want it to come out and is trying to engage in the process of opening it up, but is unwilling to burn all their bridges to do so.
Well, and also it may be in like to the point where that this legacy program may be well on its way to being out of the government in a sense where it won't need to report directly to any like agency.
Right.
If it is so long standing. I mean, unless Trump gets in there and starts telling all.
Yeah, and another like strategy for the legacy program that could be going on here is they could be seeing these like the OSAP ATIP leaker group, like the Chris Mellons, the Jay Strattons, the Lou Elizondos, the David Grushes, the David Fravers and Ryan Graves and all these people who are now this giant group of people who are, coming out. They're all sort of connected in that they are trying to get the, government to open up. But if you're within the legacy program and you know that those people never got full access to the full truth, and you do understand that catastrophic disclosure is a possibility that will eventually happen, and you do understand that maybe you do need to start opening up and get more brain power in your reverse engineering before we lose in the reverse engineering race to someone like Russia or China. So, but you're also unwilling to just come fully open and essentially admit guilt for doing a bunch of illegal things to keep the secret for all these decades.
Yep, I can see it's a multi-headed dragon.
You could see how the legacy program may be essentially using the Lou Elizondo style whistleblower camp as like a first round of useful idiots opening up the topic without giving away the full details.
And setting the stage for a staged like interaction or some sort.
Right, and that all comes down to how successful the reverse engineering has been.
We actually have all this technology, or we're going to reverse engineer from this new event, not admitting to anything previous.
So there's a lot of ways that like there's a lot of options, more than just the three I think you're laying out.
Yeah,
it's very complicated. There is lots of ways that things can be partly true, partly false. All we're trying to do is feel out the best we can, keep our minds open, and, stay vigilant to all the possibilities.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for the comments, James McPherson, 2018. We appreciate that, man, and we hope you continue to watch, and maybe we'll respond to you with letting you know that our response to you after 3 months is in this episode.
Yeah, we should.
So you can take a look.
All right, and then we got another comment that just came in on Rumble, and this was on our Trump assassination episode.
Yeah. Do you want me to read it?
Sure.
This is from Adrian Hart. This is only 7 hours ago, so it's fresh.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great report, guys, and I think you're spot on, except for your conclusion that the dead body was Crooks. You only need to show a photo of the face of the dead guy against one of Urich and Crooks to see Urich is clearly the body. It and Urich have that rougher caveman-like look, while Crooks has gentle features. And the ears, maybe I'm missing something, but they are clearly different. But you can discount the photo of the FBI. The photo the FBI released of Crooks on the wall, since the FBI later released footage of Crooks walking nearly a mile away at the exact same time. Apart from all this, Urich disappeared and had his profile wiped, as did Crooks. And who was the hoodie filmed with Crooks Sr. on July 15th? The anchor doesn't speculate on. Per instructions. Oh yeah. So this is a
question mark. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that part, but there was a video of showing the Crooks' father leaving like a grocery store, and somebody like fits Crooks' build walking out the store with him, and like having his hoodie completely covered his face, and the drawstring pulse you can't see.
That must be newer.
They said July 15th, but I don't know about that date. But I heard about that. I just saw like a clip of it.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm pretty much the way this entire event got covered. It was very poorly covered, and we had the firing of the Secret Service director, and then it basically just disappeared from the news cycle.
Yep.
And so I haven't heard anyone get to the bottom of any of it. Right. And I haven't seen an opening and sharing still to this day of any of the actual fine details of what exactly happened. And so I'm still open to any of the theories.
Yeah.
But it does seem that at the very least Crooks was involved. Maybe there was a multi-man operation. This idea of Urich is
he was there
pretty
on site.
intriguing.
They have pictures of him there on site. So he was definitely there, whether he was the one who actually did the shooting and dying.
I haven't seen confirmations of him being on site, but maybe
there was a photo there was a supposed photo and actual video of him from like a onlooker by, just taking a video. You see him walking around the building, and then there's a video or a picture.
I've seen that of Crooks. I haven't seen that of
That's
Urich.
what I'm talking about.
I'm talking about Urich.
Oh, okay, yeah. I haven't seen any of confirming him on site, but I did see all the stuff on Crooks.
Yeah.
So.
But no, it is pretty odd that, I mean, I don't know if it's still the fact, I haven't followed up on this, and you sent this 3 months ago. Or no, I guess
this is
a few
7
hours ago. I haven't been keeping up on it recently, so I don't know if there has since been any sightings of Urich or anything.
Yeah, we'd have to do another look into it.
I'd have to do,
because it disappeared from news cycle, and there wasn't anything.
And eventually everyone moves on to the next story, right?
Yeah.
And then there was another assassination, and then there's all these other crazy stories happening.
Especially because it all kind of lined up with the election and the pre-election
I don't expect, if we're ever going to get any answers on this type of stuff, it won't probably be until Trump takes office and can control the bodies that are responsible for the investigation.
Right. But, I don't think, and that's if he's even willing to do the investigation. Like if he has some reason to believe it was an orchestrated thing. Do you really want, obviously, especially with all the questions about the Secret Service and how they handled it, and any potential for an inside job.
Well,
that theory
from
would be
certain perspectives, it could be something he may need to do for his own preservation.
I can see that too, sure.
Because once he gets out of office, I don't think, and if the power swings back to the Democrats after that, he will be at risk again for more
attacks,
things, more attacks,
more stuff. That's true.
So, there are ways to read it in which, he's just biding his time until he has the power to investigate. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. There's a lot of big talk. There's a lot of mysteries. There's a lot of things that will be very fascinating to see how they go once this inauguration finally takes place. So,
but we appreciate you.
Close
Adrian
to around
Hart.
the time this episode comes out. Well, it'll be another week by the time this episode comes out.
Yeah. We'll see if anything happens immediately with some executive orders and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, let's take our first break, probably, huh?
Yeah, let's do that.
And then we'll come back and we'll get into the meat of the potatoes.
Well, we got a lot of random topics we're going to cover here before we get into the
meat and potatoes. It's all meat and potatoes, man. We're going to end up on a tangent here, I'm sure.
All right, here we go. This is TJ McNulty, Not Talkin'.
Constitute my attributes, nor do I see past what I see. I'm a firm believer in believing, but to believe in you, I must first believe in me. So tell me your reasons for not telling me, I'll tell you how not to be. Will you be the reasons and I'll be the relief? Let's talk about how not talking is killing me. Well, always I have been a patron of the truth. One time is one too many to be misused. And you give me the smile that I was oh so used to. I won't have the courage to give what I deserve to you. So tell me your reasons for not telling me, and I'll tell you how not to be. Will you be the reason and I'll be the relief? Let's talk about how not talking is killing me. constitute my attributes. Well, normally I just see past what I see. And to be a believer, you must first believe. And I wanna believe in us, but I don't believe in me. So tell me your reasons for not telling me, and I'll tell you how not to be. Will you be the reasons and I'll be the relief? Let's talk about how not talking is killing me. Will you be the reasons and I'll be the relief? Have I told you how not talking is killing me?
Welcome back. All right, so is it time that I tell you the story of what happened when I went home last week?
Yes, please. Dude, so let me give you some pretext here.
Yeah.
We finished recording last week at like 11:30.
And we had given some like updates on the New Jersey drones, and we were talking about UFOs.
Like we have been for a couple weeks now.
So it was like on my mind.
Sure.
But like even before we recorded, it started with me on my way over to record.
You said
with you last week.
That's right.
I left my parents' house and I saw red.
You said something when
lights
you got here
that
too.
looked like the New Jersey drones that were like blinking green.
But you were like didn't pay attention
in the sky.
right?
No, I saw it, but I was like running late and like I had to meet up with you.
Right.
So
you couldn't like focus on it.
I didn't follow it and like try and investigate it because I wanted to get to your house.
Yeah.
So I get to your house, we record.
Yeah. And then I get a call at midnight.
Let me set that up. So we record, we talk about UFO stuff, I leave, and I'm going home, and in the same area, so I live like blocks from my parents' house, like we're really close. So going to my house is pretty much going to their house.
Yep.
So in the same area of the sky that I originally saw it, I saw the same thing in the sky. Mm-hmm. The red lights, looks like a drone, like 4 of them. Mm-hmm. And these green ones blinking. Then as I'm approaching the street, that's the street I live on, I can see it like move in the sky a little bit, like it's like changing its location.
Okay.
So I turn left at the light towards my house and I see it in the sky, and now I realize it's literally right above me because I can't even see through my windshield anymore. It's above it. Right. So I pull off the side of the street and I get out of my car and I look up, and this thing is right above me.
Yeah, I mean, it looked pretty close.
And so I give Drew a call.
He calls me, and then I'm just like, yo, what's up? He's like, dude, you're sleeping? I'm like, well, I was like laying down, but like, what's up? And then he's like, dude, I'm seeing those, like what I was telling you earlier, I see them again. They're right above me. And he starts to FaceTime video me, and I see them. They're right above him. And then like midway through, like 3/4 way through our conversation, because my son had just woken up too, and I was about to have to go.
I've been driving home, and I recorded this right after I got off with you. So you...
So my son had woken up, so I couldn't stay on the phone for long. But Dean showed me.
But as I was on the phone with you,
another one swooped in to
from
view.
The side.
You could still see the one blinking and sitting there, kind of like partially blocked by something.
And then there was another one moving across.
By, and then it kind of like did like a little move like this. It looked like, and then settled.
But I have to say, as I was so close to it, I was literally right under it. I could see it. It felt like maybe 200 to 250 feet like above my head.
I asked you what
and
you
I
could
hear what sounded like distant whizzing of like propellers from a drone.
Loud, because like our conventional loud.
Well, no, because it was like far enough out that like it was kind of diffused by the time it got to me, so it wasn't super loud, but it sounded like a drone.
Okay.
So it was clearly a drone.
Yeah. Let's play this.
Yeah. So I called Drew and I'm like, Drew, I see the New Jersey drones, and I'm showing him, and there's another one that comes in.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the heck?
And I was like, I gotta go, dude, but like, take a video. I gotta go.
Yeah. You were like, I gotta go to Wyatt. And like he hung up, it was super fast. I was like, no, I have to talk to someone about this. So I call our other brother, John.
Oh, yeah.
And he doesn't answer. So I call our nephew, Chris, and he answers.
Oh, yeah.
And he's still at mom and dad's.
Oh, okay.
And he's, which is on the same street, like I said. So he walks outside and I tell him to look up in the sky and there's these drones. He's like, I don't see him. And I was like, look down the street I live on.
Towards
my house. And he like walks to the side. And when you get out of the way of the other like neighborhood house and towards the street, you can just see it. The sky opens up.
Yeah.
So he saw it. And I was like, all right, I'm coming
to you. If I get abducted, I love him.
No, I was like, I'm coming to you. So I hop back in my car. Oh, but I take this video first. So
yeah. Let me
this
see
video is not very good, but check it out.
I want to see it.
I noticed these green and red flashing lights in the sky when I went to go podcast with Drew earlier. I come home, they're still in the sky. These things seem definitely like drones.
It's moving so slow.
I saw two of them.
It's got like two static reds, but it fully switches to greens too.
Yeah, flashing green. They are very hard to photograph. You can see it much clearer by eye. So yeah.
Whoa. That was moving so slow. That has to be a drone, and there's pretty high up there. What the hell is it doing?
Yeah, I mean it's clearly a drone.
So then you went and got Chris.
So I hop back in the car and I turn around and I go pick up Chris.
Yeah.
And our nephew and his friend were staying the night too.
Oh, okay.
And so they all hop in my car and I drive back. I'm like, all right, it's close to my house. So we go over, we get right under it and we pull into the neighborhood because it looks like it moved a little.
Yeah, it did in the video, yeah.
So we pull over in the neighborhood right below it again. We get out and we're looking up and now everyone can hear it. Everyone can see it. Like it's right there above our head. And then, our attention was up in the sky. So I didn't even realize until I looked down from that there's this giant like military looking truck in this neighborhood. It looks like a giant dark gray painted like Humvee with like a shooting turret up top. And people in black like
garb.
Yeah, like SWAT type garb. All standing around the truck, and then a couple Roseville police.
Okay. So they're doing a SWAT operation.
So I walk up to them. I was like, "Hey guys, wait here." And I walk up and I was like, is that you guys flying these? And they're like, yeah, we have an active situation. Please step back. And I was like, oh.
They were there for a long time, though.
Yeah, I was like, I really wanted it to be aliens.
yeah. Or something. Yeah, at least we figured out what that was.
Yeah, so I walked back to the car and I was like telling them what they said to me. And then I was like, wait, hold on 1 second. I go back towards them. And I was like, are you guys Roseville PD? And he was like, yeah. So, yeah, it's just Roseville's, like, SWAT stuff.
It looked like they were probably, like, doing some sort of investigation, probably.
And using drones for surveillance makes a ton of sense. But
that's going to be our future if we continue to allow certain laws to pass.
Yeah, well, anyway, so I was like, well, if there's an active situation, my sister will be pissed if I keep my nephews over there. True. So I was like, all right, guys, get back in. We got to go back. So we go back, and we're just kind of talking about it with our dad. And then finally our brother gets off the phone and comes out too. Okay. We're talking about it, and all of a sudden we hear pop, 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 like in the distance.
Really?
So there was like clearly some sort of
altercation going on there.
Maybe like a raid with like some shooting at the end or something. I don't know, but like it was like muffled, like in the distance, but you could hear.
It was across Kirby, like in your side.
Yeah,
like back behind like the AM/PM in that neighborhood over there. Or is it in your neighborhood? Like that neighborhood right before your...
Right before mine, yeah. Okay. But anyway, so that was crazy.
Well, and
My New
That goes to
Jersey
show-
drones turned out to be police drones.
That goes to show a lot of what people are probably seeing on the East Coast is something like similar to that.
It is possible for sure.
At least some of especially some of the ones that look more generic drone like. There are others though that look like military grade and have capabilities that the military is the only ones who probably have the cutting edge of. So that's why they're a little bit more like the ones that we looked up that were like super advanced, like the ones that could vertical takeoff with thrusters and then
Right.
turn to be able to like forward propel once they're already airborne. Those I've seen pictures of those in the air. So like it looks just like the video we saw from their website.
Right.
So there's going to be some of that, but it is interesting. It's very curious what's going on over there. Why we're not hearing any answers about it.
I mean, in some senses, we're finally entering the era where people and government and law enforcement are just using these things as tools.
Yep.
And so it's becoming more common to see it.
Yep. Yep.
But in the case of New Jersey, there's clearly something outside of law enforcement based on a very particular type that was very consistently reported.
Yeah.
There was something very specific with these ones that are like SUV sized coming off the ocean where they're coming in like 50 or a dozen.
Yeah. That's
Like a
And
lot
not-
of that
and
is
no
confirmed on
explanation.
video, multiple sources.
and like a lot of the local law enforcement and reporters are the ones who are reporting on this stuff.
Right.
Like it's them, and they're sending up their own drones, and there's other people who are sending up drones, and they're being like disabled out of the sky
Right.
because if
And
they
there
get
has
too
to be
close-
like a certain amount of like conventional aircraft being misidentified.
Oh, for
too.
sure. Yeah, that's always that happens with even the most standard UFO case.
Yeah, and it's
sightings.
just like it's not because it happens to me. You know, like I'll see something in the sky,
What was that?
and you can't just know right away all the time, depending on how it looks from your angle and stuff, what type of thing it is. You might have to observe it a little more carefully or longer,
Right.
or investigate it closer,
Yeah, or get clear enough picture of it where you
or
can
have
go look
access
up
to like the live
imagery.
charts and the like flight control data. But
that too. Which there is a live air tracker.
right, and I think that's part of like how pilots navigate. Anyway, using stuff like that. Anyway,
All right,
so
let's
that was
continue on.
that was my story. All right, what do we got here? Matt LaCroix on Jesse Michaels.
Yes. So
What are we gonna show here?
I think this is his interesting take on like what happened and like what's the reason or the cause for these like cyclical well, the first one,
Catastrophes,
yeah,
or-
the cyclical catastrophes that seem to happen, especially like, and he cites core samples and stuff. Anyway, well, let's play the first one because it talks about what may be causing it, and I just think it's an interesting theory.
I've never read his books. I wonder how well he cites all his sources in his books.
Yeah, I
because
don't
sometimes when he talks, he just kind of like asserts, but doesn't
Yeah,
source very
Yeah,
well.
Yeah,
So I'm interested, but like I'm skeptical based on what I've heard so far.
In the Great Year documentary, ancient civilizations believed that entire dance was based on, they called it our black sun. They called it, you ever heard of black holes, the black sun,
Well, Black
David
Sun-
Bowie, right?
Black Sun's also kind of this age-old occult symbol.
Well, that turns out there's some truth in this, that there was knowledge of a dark star.
A partner star to our own sun? Some say the binary model confirms all of our celestial observations without the need for excessive torque or epicycle type explanations. While the concept of a second sun challenges our present understanding of the solar system, it is hardly a new idea.
There's one sun which is part of the planetary system, and there's one sun outside the solar system. And this allows Mithras to both be the sun and also seem to be operating for the sun or on behalf of the sun.
The ancients had some knowledge on it. There's different areas.
Yeah, I was
Even
gonna say that part.
there-
Yeah, it's just the idea of like what I don't really take much of his personal. Most of these clips we're going to go through is more of like just like the idea and not his personal anecdotes on it.
Well, there is
Just
like the search
just idea.
But
get
to
the
back
idea
up
out
what
there.
he's talking about here, there is like the search for a planet 10.
Yep.
And there are some people who think like basically what we're finding right now when we look out into the galaxy and we look at star systems, a lot of them are binary.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, most of them are binary. And in fact, it feels weird because our type of system, there are certain indicators that it could be binary.
Right. Yeah, that's why I thought this idea was interesting because
But
it's like the idea of it being a
right.
dark stone, like some sort of dwarf star or something, some sort of dark energy,
Right.
invisible
Right.
like mass that's just affecting us in a cyclical pattern as it warps, as they sling around each other and when their ellipses cross.
Yeah, maybe it's like a brown dwarf, or
Right.
could even be like, well, probably not a black hole unless it's a tiny one, which
And, like,
I don't think is super common.
The obvious effect of it too would
could be like a planet, could be an asteroid,
could be a massive planet too that could knock the sun off of its trajectory.
Didn't we show on the podcast that Anton Petrov video where he was yeah, we did.
Yeah, I think
where there was like a evidence that because of the eccentricity of the orbits of the planets is the conjecture that a star
Something
system
comes close.
came close to our
Yeah.
solar system,
Yep.
and that it essentially like the gravity interaction
Pulled
like,
everything.
flung a bunch of
Yeah.
objects
Yep.
in weird directions.
Yep. And it altered the orbits of certain planets at certain sometimes. So like that's what causes, and like so he goes on to assert that that Mars was destroyed during one of these cyclical phases. So if you go to 107.12,
Okay. We got
So you realize the implications of what you're saying. You're saying that NASA figured out
Yes.
that we're actually living in these sort of civilizational cycles
Yes.
that we really have no control over. They're kind of these hard resets.
Exactly.
Maybe we're headed towards one right now.
And in order
they're
to
hiding it.
And in order to cover it up, they blocked all knowledge of the binary star companion so that whole cycle would not be understood.
That's insane.
Is it though?
I don't know. I mean, I need to.
If there was an
diligence
asteroid,
the details,
and I'm not saying this in an apocalyptic way because I would actually. The next part of this is we should talk about how I believe we may be able to prevent that.
Okay.
But what I mean is, if governments knew about a giant asteroid coming towards the Earth or a comet, would they tell everybody?
Maybe not. Maybe not. So-
Widespread panic,
Sure.
complete society collapsing.
So, and you're of the opinion that this dead star is headed towards the sun now.
Yes.
And so, do you have, based on your
Cycles of what we see in ice cores throughout Antarctica and Greenland of a consistency.
and what's your model of how much time we have left based on that?
We're right in it right now.
So, like,
Very interesting how consciousness seems to rise at the same time that the sun starts to emit more energy. And this gets into, like, again, lost civilizations, what they knew.
Yeah, we
right?
just saw it there.
I actually believe.
So it was actually right before that he talked about how Mars was like these CMEs or no, not CMEs. Is that what I'm thinking of? No, cosmic burst, cosmic outburst, or the solar outbursts. Anyways, these solar outbursts are what he believes is what destroyed Mars when it had at one point. So he's saying that the sun is so affected by this binary star coming into its orbit.
right that it
That
changes the
it
output
changes-
and the burn rate and
And
like
he's saying that the
energy
sun has
radiation
to output
that
more
outputs from the sun.
because
Right.
it's compensating for what's happening on the other side. So when whatever planets are in the path of
the
what
gravity
the outburst
well would be
be
becoming denser because there's something else coming closer to it, and that might pull things in a little tighter and like increase the rate of fusion
outbursts, yeah.
inside.
Which would have to be compensated for with outbursts, is what he's asserting.
Right.
So that would obviously affect all of the planets in the solar system if the sun is
if it puts out enough,
if putting out a lot of bursts. So his theory is that Mars was the one that got hit last.
Yeah.
And maybe the Earth, maybe not, but the Earth was still affected. So that's what caused the rapid, 12,000 years ago, that was what caused the rapid onset of the warming, was a solar outburst instead of a comet. He goes into that a little bit, I think, after this, but that was the only two clips. But the idea of like it being a cyclical, like solar event, and that might cause other things like asteroids coming too, because we weaken our magnetic field, which could make way more things happen on Earth.
That's essentially Robert Schoch's theory, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm open to that, honestly. And it wouldn't be exclusive with the idea that there are also comets influenced by this event as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Of course, that's going to happen too.
Every time that comes in and swings off the sun back out into deep space,
it weakens
because when it gets close, it interacts with all the planets and it starts to influence how all the planets orbit in the solar
and their
system.
magnetic sphere, their magnetic,
and then you get to increase energy from the sun. Mm-hmm. But then it takes time for all the planets to like settle back down. Maybe some of them end up now interacting with asteroids that they wouldn't have otherwise.
Right. So there could be more to a lot of these, like
comets and asteroids and meteors,
and this cyclical nature of things. Like if there were civilizations who lived beyond 12,000 years, maybe they had 12,000 years to advance.
Yeah, well, it's possible
and
too
these are
not necessarily every 12,000 years it may not be.
No, he says that too. He says it's like roughly between like 14 and like 11.
Right.
Like it fluctuates.
Because we only have so many great extinctions on record as well, right? And if it was every 12,000 years, we would have like 200 mass extinctions.
Well, it probably varies.
Like we would have tons of them.
It also varies too in the distance. So like this dark star, supposedly there's a close side and then a farther away. As it's swinging around, obviously there's a worse side and a less worse side of it slinging around that ellipse.
There's different configurations where it could swing in and out, but we could be on the other side of our orbit so that we're not super affected.
Exactly.
And there can be times where we end up like
right in the path
with it and we hit multiple times.
Yeah.
And then maybe take a break and then, multiple. It's like, orbital mechanics and
and then you see, a lot of the connections with a lot of the symbology and like numerology that all of these like ancient civilizations had. And he's of the idea that or no, it wasn't him. Who was it? I think I'm mixing things up anyway. But yeah, that was it for him that I wanted to talk about. I thought it was an interesting idea.
Okay. What's this one?
Oh, so this is. Let's watch the video first, and then I'll tell you a little bit more.
It's a school for clairvoyance. It looks like a bunch of kids in a karate class, maybe. It says yellow. Wait.
Here we go.
Blue, yellow, orange, blue, green.
Oh, he's
Technique called
blindfolded.
Vibravision helps you sense the vibration of various objects in the physical world.
All physical matter in the universe is actually a form of energy that's made up of atoms. And those atoms are cycling or vibrating at a certain frequency. Practicing Vibravision gives us the ability to access our sensors and to perceive those vibrations, and then convert it into a usable mental image we call mind sight.
Good.
Hold on for me, please. Ready? Justin, tell me what's on this card.
Teacup.
And now tell me what's on this card.
Tiger.
Isabella, What is the shape and color of this stone?
Kind of like a circle, and it's not really, it's kind of like see-through.
Here's yet another example of how consciousness can interact with the physical world beyond what science claims to be possible.
When we work with the blindfold, it's so that we can encourage the children to use the vision that they have with their higher consciousness.
Evie, tell me the shape and color of the stone.
It's red and kind of a circle.
Yeah.
Yellow.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, the way that they're dressed made me feel like they were a cult right off the bat. Because he looks like a karate guy, but then like there's like this weird string at the top that like in like a red collar that just like, come on, dude. Why do we got to do all that? Why do we got to do all that?
Yeah, it's I always need more than just a Instagram video, but
anyway,
it's interesting.
I started looking it up, and it said that the lady at the end that was speaking was part of the International School of Clairvoyance, the ISC.
Okay.
So I looked it up, and the International School of Clairvoyance is run by Deborah Lynn Katz. And she holds a PhD in psychology and a master's degree in social work. She is the founder and lead instructor of this school of clairvoyance. And she's got a few books, it looks like. But yeah, she's got a whole website here, and there's classes you can take. There's a master class in intuitive development, clairvoyant training program, mediumship, manifesting magic, multi-dimensional remote viewing, advanced remote viewing. They've got private tutoring. They've got events. They got a whole slew of things. They actually have remote viewing practice targets here. So if you go to the remoteviewing.net, it'll give you some practice targets. This is interesting.
Which website are you on?
It's actually deborahkatz.com, but it's for the International School of Clairvoyance. And Katz is spelled with a K and the Z at the end, sorry. Katz. And it's DEBRA. No O. No O. RA. Yep. deborahkatz.com. There it is.
Clairvoyance.
Yeah.
Interesting.
This reminds me of Charles Xavier School for...
I know. It always makes me think, like, what are the chances of, like, you're joining a cult if you go to, like, events put on by some people?
I know.
But
anyway, there's classes, though. And there's manifesting magic. Maybe you go check that out.
Recommendation from someone who's been there.
For sure. We'll have to, maybe we'll find somebody, if you've been to this or know anybody who knows anything about this, have them email us or reach out. Maybe we'll have a conversation with you.
Yeah. I mean,
that'd be fun.
Looks like they got a lot more videos, so you could also check that out. Anyway, cool. All right, let's take a quick break here, and then we got some more stuff.
Now we'll get into the meat and potatoes. No, we still got more.
This might just be a random episode. All right, this is Stevie Nader, Chasing.
I can't take this anymore. I tried so hard to fight it. Yeah, I went out to war. I don't know what to do instead. Cause all I've known for so long, yeah, all I've known is dead. For all the words that went unsaid, for all the silent moments, for letters left unread, I pray our souls do find their paths. Cause all we've done for so long is chase the green
Welcome back.
Segment 2, 3?
3.
Wow.
Cool. So let me kind of speed through this other thing I brought, and I'll leave links if you guys want to follow up. But you remember a couple weeks ago when we did the like dinosaur soft tissue video?
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah. So
I played that
as
video.
I was doing like all the research and like pulling together the links for like that episode, I looked into it a little further, and I found the first lady who found the soft tissue in a T-Rex. And it was like an accidental breakage of a T-Rex bone at the site, which opened up the bone, which they usually don't do.
They try not to do.
They try and preserve it.
Yeah.
But in this case, it
Exposed.
broke open, and she found samples of soft tissue on the inside.
And fairly intact, like not fully degraded.
Not fully degraded, which is super interesting.
And that's basically what that guy was talking about.
That is what he was talking about.
Yeah.
So it has been discovered, and it's
just what
it
it means.
What does it mean, right?
Yeah.
And so what they didn't cover is like what science is talking about, what different scientists are talking about of what it might mean. And essentially what they're saying is what it probably means is that we don't have a full understanding of the process of fossilization and decay under the, at the very least, like decay under the conditions that cause fossilization.
The exact conditions too, because it probably it happens on a spectrum,
because
right?
if a bone fossilizes from the outside in, like, it could like essentially seal in the stuff on the inside.
Yeah, like
which would eventually like shut down the decay process because it would be cut off from resources to keep feeding itself.
Yeah.
Anyway, they have different explanations, but anyway, they're trying to say that like we need to learn more about the fossilization process and decay under fossilization conditions.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a real thing. There has been soft tissue found.
Well, I know this is like, there's like some talks of them like doing actual cloning with some of the soft tissue that they found.
Right.
On some of these species.
This is
the woolly mammoths.
A research article at University of California Press, and I'll just read the little intro paragraph. It says, the recent discovery of preserved cells and soft tissues in certain dinosaur bones seems incompatible with the age of millions of years, given the expectation that cells and soft tissues should have decayed away after millions of years. However, evidence from radiometric dating shows that the dinosaur fossils are indeed millions of years old. Under certain circumstances, cells and soft tissues in bone are protected from complete disintegration. Formation of a mineral concretion around a bone protects biomolecules inside from hydrolysis by underground water. Infusion and coating with iron and iron compounds at a critical point in the decay process protects cells within a bone from autolysis. Cross-linking in association with bone mineral surfaces furnish added protection to collagen fibers in a bone. These protective factors can result in soft tissue preservation that lasts millions of years. It would benefit educators to be aware of these phenomena in order to better advise students whose acceptance of biological evolution has been challenged by young Earth creationist arguments that are based on soft tissues and dinosaur fossils.
But if they already knew that, then why would the discovery have not already flagged that?
They're not saying they already knew that. They're saying that.
But it sounds like it's like a very specific type of fossilization, because it says under certain circumstances, cells and soft tissues in a bone are protected from complete disintegration. Formation of mineral concretion around a bone protects biomolecules inside. Like, did they already know that this happens? Is my question.
No, I don't think they did until this was discovered.
So if this is the only case that they're citing...
Well, the original discovery was in like the 90s.
Okay.
So this article is from 2021.
Okay.
They've had time since then to do study on
what
that causes that.
Right.
Anyway.
Because it just sounded from like the previous article and some of the people like, I guess it's just like somebody ran with the idea,
right,
and got a bunch of people hooked on the idea that like dinosaurs.
If you are unwilling to accept the idea that we have full understanding of decay, right, then maybe you're open to the idea that because we know exactly how decay works, that the fact that this hasn't shown full decay means it's younger. Like, that's one way of doing it, but it's also valid to say, well, maybe we just did not fully understand decay, and that's what they're showing. Mm-hmm. So
makes sense.
There's interesting conditions that can shut down the decay process.
We need to learn more.
Right.
We need to learn more. If this happens more often with other types, or if it's under a certain circumstance that it would happen.
But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because, I thought it was interesting that they were showing the soft tissue. Is something I hadn't heard of. We're
gonna start getting dinosaurs again, dude.
Yeah,
we're gonna get some Triceratops and those little baby dinosaurs.
Dude, the Jurassic Park thing. I wonder if any of them. I mean, it seems far fetched that any of them may have had like surviving DNA, but I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see. It's only a matter of time, and then you get what's his name? The big guy from Jurassic Park walking across and delivering a little vial of DNA. And
I'll leave some of these links. I was wondering if these drones are still happening, and I found some postings of videos and pictures from like January 2nd. So as of at least a couple days ago, people are still seeing this stuff. I saw this story.
Yeah, what's up with this?
Showing that drones shut down major Moscow airports.
So it's happening in other countries too.
Yeah. This is an interesting story. Maybe we'll get back to this next time. Do you want to get into the topic?
I do. Yeah, I want to get into Lacerta Files.
All right. So here will be a link. If you click it on screen, what's highlighted. It'll be a link to the Y-Files episode. You should go to that and watch that. And maybe we'll actually play like their intro to this topic and then go from there.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one.
All right. So this is 7th experiment. Lacerta reveals the truth of our creation on the Y-Files.
This episode of the Y-Files is brought to you by PDS Debt. On December 16th, 1999, 3 things happened in Old K's office. His pencil levitated, his coffee froze solid, and the woman sitting across from him wasn't human. Old K had built his career debunking every alien story, every paranormal claim, every supernatural sighting. He'd seen every trick, he knew every technique. His articles had ruined careers and earned him a reputation as a tough professional skeptic. But now his pencil was floating above his desk. The being across from him called herself Lacerta. She told him how humanity was created and how it would end. And she could prove it. The world's most notorious UFO skeptic was about to understand why some stories can't be debunked.
So, that's the little teaser. So go watch that, and then it's only about 25 minutes.
Yeah, it's really only like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So
check it out, and then come back here and we'll discuss, because this was a super interesting episode. So hopefully you're back now.
And we're gonna go in and actually read some of the Lacerta file off of.
We went to the link in the video, and we've got the actual transcript of the interview. Bibliotecapleiades.net.
Pleiades, okay.
There's a lot of interesting stuff on this website too.
Yeah, I've been scrolling on this one for a while. This is on one of mine.
All right, so I gotta bring it over here. So Lacerta File 1. So this is 2 files, I believe. Translation by Chris Feller, it says. Introduction. I certify that the following text is the absolute truth and no work of fiction. These are parts of a transcript of an interview I've made with a non-human and reptilian being on December of 1999. This female being was already in contact with a friend of mine who whose name is given only as the abbreviation EF in this text. Since some months, let me declare that I was all my life a skeptic about UFOs, aliens, and other weird things, and I thought that EF tells me just dreams or fictitious stories when he talked with me about his first contacts with non-human being Lacerta. I was still a skeptic when I met this being on December 16th last year, in that small warm room in the remote house of my friend, near to a town in the south of Sweden. Despite the fact that I saw now with my own eyes that she was not human, she has told and shown me so many unbelievable things during that meeting that I can't deny the reality and the truth of her words any longer. This is not another of that wrong UFO papers which claim to tell the truth but in fact just fiction. I'm convinced that this transcript contains only the truth and therefore you should read it. I had talked with her for over 3 hours, so the following transcript shows you only shortened parts of the interview, because she asked me after the interview not to publish everything she had told me already now. The order of the questions in this transcript is not always the same order in which I asked them, so it may seem sometimes a little bit confusing to you. It was not easy to delete all the important parts she asked me to delete from the transcript, so I apologize for the maybe unusual order. I am in the possession of the entire transcript of the interview, 49 pages with some of my drawings of her body and her equipment, and also of some tapes on which I have the full interview. But I will not reveal this before I have permission from her. I will send this shortened form of the still fascinating document to 4 of my reliable friends, to Finland, Norway, Germany, and France, and I hope they will translate it in their own languages and into other languages, and I hope that as many people as possible will be able to read and understand the transcript. If you receive it, please send it to all your friends via email or make printouts and copy them. I certify furthermore that various paranormal abilities of her species, like telepathy, telekinesis, including the moving and dancing of my pencil on the table without touching, and the flying of an apple around 40 centimeters over her hands, were shown to me during the 3 hours and 6 minutes of the meeting, and I'm absolutely sure that these abilities were no tricks.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. The following is certainly difficult to understand and to believe for someone who hasn't experienced it, but I was really in contact with her mind, and I'm now completely sure that everything she said during the interview is the absolute truth about our world. Unfortunately, if I had read the entire transcript and much more, this very shortened form myself, I have the strong impression that everything I've written sounds too unbelievable to be true. That everything sounds more like a bad science fiction story from TV or cinema, and I have doubts that anyone will believe my experiences. But they are true if you believe it or not. I can't expect from you that you believe my simple words without evidence, but I can't give you that evidence. Please read the transcript and think about it, and you will maybe see the truth in these words. There will be a new meeting between me and her again in the same house in Sweden on April 23rd, 2000. She promised me to give me maybe some evidence for her existence. In the meantime, I collect questions which I will ask her then. Maybe she gives me permission to reveal more of the missing parts in that transcript and about the coming war. Believe it or not, this makes no real difference, but I hope you will believe. Okay.
Yeah, he had me until he said brought war into it. Just to like grip people.
Yeah. So apparently to this day, according to the Y files, I haven't done my own digging on this, but apparently to this day, no one knows the identity of this old K. Yeah. And there's no necessarily verification that this is in fact like a real story.
Right.
So, but that doesn't mean it's not fun to read and consider.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't recommend like taking this as like gospel truth either.
Right. But it's a fun story.
So cool. Do you want to do this next part or should I go?
Yeah, I got it. So this is the transcript of interview, shortened version. December 16th, 1999. First question. First of all, who are you and what are you? Are you an extraterrestrial species, or can your origin be found on this planet? Answer. As you can see with your own eyes, I am not a human being like you. And to be honest, I'm not no real mammal, despite my partly mammal-like body features, which are as a result of evolution. I'm a female reptile being, belonging to a very old reptilian race. We are the native Terrans, and we live on that planet since millions of years. We are mentioned in your religious writings from your Christian Bible, and many of the ancient human tribes were aware of our presence and worshipped us as gods. For example, the Egyptians and the Inca, and many other old tribes. Your Christian religion has misunderstood our role in your creation, so we are mentioned as evil serpent in your writings. This is wrong. Your race was genetically engineered by aliens, and we were just more or less passive visitors on this accelerated evolution process. You must know, some of your scientists have already supposed this, that your species had evolved in a naturally completely impossible speed within just 2 to 3 millions of years. This is absolutely impossible because evolution is a much slower process if it's natural, but you have not understood this. Your creation was artificial and done by genetic engineering, but not by us, but by an alien species. If you ask me if I'm an extraterrestrial, I must answer no. We are native Terrans. We had and have some colonies in the solar system, but we originate on this planet. It's in fact our planet and not yours. It was never yours. Can you tell me your name? Next question. Can you tell me your name? Answer. This is difficult because your human tongue is not able to pronounce it correctly, and a mispronunciation of our names is very offensive for some of my kind. Our language is very different from yours, but my name is, I will try to say it in a smoother by the use of your human letters, something like Shiash. Gosh. With a very, very strong pronunciation on the sh and the K sounds.
Dang.
Shas, gosh. Right? I think I nailed it.
She might be offended.
Well, sorry. We have no forenames like you, but only a single but unique name, which is divided and characterized by the way of speaking, and which is given not to children, but who, in quotations it says, who have an own children name?
Yeah, they have like a... Yeah.
Who have
they have a name as children, basically, is what she's trying to say.
A different name, basically.
Yeah.
But only in a special procedure in an adolescent age at the time of either religious or scientific enlightenment or awareness, as you would call it. I would appreciate it if you don't try to say my real name. Oops, sorry. With your human tongue. Please call me Lacerta. This is the name I generally use when I am among humans and talk with them. Question. How old are you? We measure the time... Answer, sorry. We measure the time not like you in astronomical years and in the revolving of the Earth around sun, because we usually live beneath the surface of the planet. Our time measurement depends on periodically returning cycles in the Earth magnetic field, and according to this, you said with your numbers, let me calculate. 57,653 cycles old. I have reached my adult phase and my awareness 16,337 cycles ago. This is a very important date for us. According to your human timescale, I'm around 28 years old. Question, what is your task? Do you have a job like us? Answer, to say it with your words, I'm a curious. I'm a curious student of the I'm a curious student of the social behavior of your species. That's why I'm here and talking to you. That's why I have revealed my real nature to EF, which is the guy here. Right?
Yeah, that was his friend that hooked her up with this.
Oh, that's right. And now to you. And that's why I give you all the secret information and why I will try to answer all of the questions on your mini sheets of paper. Honestly, I will see how you... I just want to see how you react. Honestly, I will see how you react, how others of your kind react. So they're kind of like probing.
Yeah.
Okay. There are so many crazies and liars of your kind on this planet who claim to know the truth about us, about UFOs, about aliens, and so on. Some of you believe their lies. I'm interested to see how your species will react if you make the truth, which I will tell you now. I will tell you now, public. I'm quite sure every one of you will refuse to believe my words, but I hope I'm wrong, because you need to understand if you want to survive the coming years. Question. I've read your full statement, which you have given to EF about this. Can you give me now just a short answer? Are UFOs real flying objects piloted by extraterrestrials, or do they belong to your species? Answer. Some observed UFOs, as you call them, belong to us, but most not. Most of the mysterious flying objects in the sky are not technological devices, but mainly misinterpretations of natural phenomena your scientists have not understood, like spontaneous plasma flares in the high atmosphere. Nevertheless, some UFOs are real craft belonging to either your own species, especially to your own military, your military, and to the other alien species, or at last to us. But a minority of sighted crafts belong really to us, because we are generally very careful with our movements in the atmosphere, and we have special ways to hide our ships, so that they're saying it's not their ships that people are seeing,
right?
In a sense, at least not all of them.
Some of them, but
yeah, at least not all of them.
Not many.
We also have a very small fleet of disc-shaped craft, such as UFOs belonging...
No, you missed a paragraph before that, yeah.
Oh, if you read a report about a sighting of a metallic bright gray, cigar-shaped cylindrical object with a length of... There are different types. Let me say between 20 and 260 of your meters. And if this object had made a very deep humming sound, and if there were 5 bright red lights on the metallic surface of the cigar, one at top, one in the middle, and 2 at the end, then it's likely that some of you have seen one of our ships. And this means that it was either partly defect, or that someone of us is not careful enough. So it's like a...
That's their type of ship, is the cigar-shaped ones that have a very specific...
And if you ever see it, it's like a mess-up.
Right, ship. Because they probably have some sort of weird cloaking technology, and that means that someone wasn't paying attention. And
yeah, like somebody's job is to like hold the wall and be like, cloak.
Right.
You know, like that's their job, and they like got distracted by their fling. Where we go? So if you really want to try see one of our...
skip back to the disc ones.
Oh, yeah. We have also that one right there above.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have also a very small fleet of disc-shaped craft, such as UFOs belonging to the alien...
we have a small fleet of disc-shaped craft, but such UFOs belong usually to an alien species.
Oh, so they're saying extraterrestrial. Yeah, I gotcha.
They're saying
they have something like it, but it's usually something else that you're saying.
Right.
Somebody else.
Right.
Triangular UFOs belong generally to our own military, but they use foreign technology to build them.
No, to our own military.
It says to your own military. Yeah, sorry. If you really want to try and see one of our craft, you should have a look at the skies over the Arctic, the Antarctic, and over the inner Asia, especially over the mountains there.
Interesting.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's take a quick break and then we'll come back.
All right.
This is interesting though.
Yeah.
I like it so far.
Let's keep going after the break.
All right. We will be right back after this. Welcome back. So we've got more of this interview to go. You want me to pick up?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. The next question are, what was the name? OK?
Yep.
Have you a special symbol or something like that with which we can identify your kind? Answer. We have two major symbols representing our species. One, the most ancient symbol, is a blue serpent with 4 white wings on a black background. The colors have religious meanings for us. The symbol was used from certain parts of my society, but is today very seldom. You humans have copied it very often in your old writings. The other symbol is a mystic being you would call a dragon, in the shape of a circle with 7 white stars in the middle. This symbol is much more common today. If you see one of that symbols on a cylindrical craft, as I've described in my previous answer, or on some underground installation, this thing or place belongs definitely to us. And I would advise you to go away from there as soon as possible. Next question. The 7 stars in the second symbol you mentioned, do they mean the Pleiades? Pleiades? No. Actually, the 7 stars are planets and moons, as they are a symbol for our former 7 colonies in the solar system. The stars are shown in front of a blue background, and the dragon circle means the shape of the Earth. The 7 white stars mean Moon, Mars, Venus, and 4 moons of Jupiter and Saturn we had colonized in the past. 2 colonies are no longer in use and abandoned, so 5 would be more correct. 5 stars would be more correct. So they have colonized the solar system. So that means they have a base on the moon, according to this interview.
Yeah.
And Mars, Venus,
Jupiter.
4 moons of Jupiter and Saturn.
Yeah.
So all the moon conspiracies and the Mars ones, the face on Mars, I wonder if that's them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next question. As you have not allowed me to make photos, what would be very useful to prove your real existence and the truth of this story? Can you describe yourself detailed? I know that it would be helpful to prove the authenticity of this interview if you can make some photos from me. Otherwise, you humans are very skeptic, and that's good for us, for the real alien species acting secretly on this planet. So even if you had such photos, many of your kind would say that they are fraud, that I'm just masked human woman or something like that. That would be very offensive for me. You must understand that I cannot give you permission to make photos of me or my equipment. This have various reasons which I want not to discuss with you further. But one of those reasons is the keeping up of the secrecy of our existence. Another reason is more religious. Nevertheless, you have permission to make drawings of my look and of my equipment I can show you later. I can also try to describe myself, but I doubt that others of your kind will be able to imagine my real look just from simple words, because the automatic denial of the existence of reptilian species and generally of intelligent species other than your own is part of the programming of your mind. Well, I will try. Imagine the body of a normal human woman, and you have at first good imagination of my body. Like you, I have head, 2 arms, 2 hands, 2 legs, 2 feet, and the proportions of my body are like yours. As I am female, I also have 2 breasts. Despite our reptile origin, we have started to give milk to our babies during the evolution process. This happened around 30 million years ago because this is the best thing to keep the young alive. Evolution had done this for your species already in the dinosaur age, and a little bit later also for ours. That means we are now real mammals, but the breasts of us are not as large as those of human women, and the size of them is generally not equal for every female of my kind. The external reproduction organs are for both sexes smaller than those of humans, but they are visible and they have the same function as yours, another gift of evolution to our species. My skin is mainly of a green-beige color, more pale green, and we have some patterns of brown irregular dots. Each dot is the size of 1 or 2 centimeters on our skin. And in our face, the patterns are different for both sexes, but females have more, especially on the lower body and the face. You can see them in my case as 2 lines over the eyebrows crossing my forehead at my cheeks and my chin. My eyes are a little bit larger than human eyes. For this reason, we can see better in the darkness and usually dominated from the large black pupils. We are surrounded from a small bright green iris. Males have a dark green iris. The pupil is slit and can change its size from a small black line to a wide open egg-shaped oval. Because our retina is very light sensitive, the pupil must compare this. And the pupil must compare this. Interesting. We have external round ears, but they are smaller and not so curved as yours. Excuse me. But we can hear better because our ears are more sensitive for sonic. We also hear a wider range of sonic. There's a muscle or lid over the ears which can completely close them, for example, underwater. Our nose is more pointed, and there is a V-shaped curving between the nostrils, which enables the ancestors to see temperature. We have lost most of this ability, but we can still feel temperature and much better with this organ. Our lips are shaped like yours, those of females a bit larger than those of males, but a pale brown color, and our teeth are very white and strong and a little bit longer and sharper than your soft mammal teeth. We have no different hair colors like you, but there is a tradition to color the hairs in different ages. And the original color, like mine, is a greenish brown. Our hairs are thicker. Our hairs are thicker and stronger than yours, and they grow very slow. In addition, the head is the only part of our body where we have hairs. Our body, arms, legs are similar in shape and size to yours, but the color is different, green beige like the face. And there are scale-like structures on the upper legs over the knees and the upper arms over the elbow. Our 5 fingers are a little bit longer and thinner than human fingers, and our skin on the palm is plain, so we have no lines like you. But again, a combination of a scale-like skin structure and the brown dots. Both sexes have the dots in the palm. And we have no fingerprints like you. If you touch my skin, you will feel that it is smoother than your hairy skin. There are also small sharp horns on the upside of both middle fingers. The fingernails are gray and generally longer than yours. You see that my nails are not so long and round at the top. This is because I'm female. Males have sharp pointed nails with a length sometimes of 5 or 6 of your centimeters. The following feature is very different from your body and part of our reptilian origin. If you touch the back side of my upper body, you will feel a hard, bony line through my clothing. This is not my spine, but a very difficult shaped external plate structure of the skin and tissue following exactly our spine from the head to the hip. There is an extremely high number of nerves and large blood vessels in this structure and in the plates, which are around 2 to 3 centimeters long and very touch sensitive. This is the reason why we have always problems to sit in chairs with a back like this chair. The main task of these small plates, beside a role in our sexuality, is simply the regulation of our body temperature. If we sit in a natural or artificial sunlight, these plates become more blood-filled and the vessels become wider, and the sun is able to heat up our reptoid blood, which circulates through the body and through the plates. For many degrees, that gives us great pleasure. What else is different from your kind? We also have no navel because we were born in a different way to your mammal birth. The other exterior difference from your kind are minor, and I think we must not mention all now, because most of them are not visible if we wear clothing. I hope the description of my body was detailed enough. I would advise you make some drawings. This is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I
thought it was interesting that they have that back plate.
Yeah, for
it's like super sensitive
for temperature regulation.
Mm-hmm. And like soaking up rays, and like it's like pleasurable to them.
Right. Huh. What kind of clothing do you generally wear? I suppose it's not the way you dress normally, or I suppose this is not the way you dress normally. No, I wear this human everyday clothing only when I'm among humans. To be honest, it's not very comfortable for me to wear such tight things, and it is always very unusual feeling. If we are in our own home, this means in our subterranean home or in our large artificial sun areas. If we are together with others near to our own name, we usually naked. Is this shocking for you? When we are in the public and together with many others of my species, we wear very wide and soft clothing made of thin, light stuff. I have told you that many parts of our bodies are very touch sensitive, mostly the small back plates, so we can't feel comfortable in tight clothing because it can hurt us. Men and women often wear the same kind of clothing, but the colors are different for the sexes. Question. You've said others near to your own name. Do you mean your family? Answer, no, not really. You would call it family, but with this word, you mean only those of your kind which belong genetically together like father, mother, and child. As I have said earlier, we have very difficult and unique name. Part of our pronunciation of that name is absolute unique, and there is no other being with the same name. But part of this name, the middle part, is pronounced in a way that which others, to which family, I must use the word because you haven't the right one in your vocabulary, you belong. This means that this means not that all in the group are genetically related to you, because these groups are very large and contain between 40 and 70 of us.
Sure.
This group includes generally your genetic relations, except for one of them had decided to left the group, and your connection with father and mother is often strongest. It would be too difficult for me to explain to you how our very old social system is very complex, and we would need many hours for the primary things.
It sounds
Maybe we
like,
can meet another time and I give you detailed description of all these things.
sorry, yeah, it sounds like you're born and you have, and whenever that name is that you get, it like basically defines a trait that you have in some sort of way,
or
and
like a
everybody,
clan.
It's like a clan tag, kind of an idea.
Yeah.
Like you're tagged with this thing, and then you go live with all the other types of beings that were tagged.
Right. So it sounds like what we would call our immediate family are in there, but it's not exactly that.
Yeah.
It's more of like an association that like lives together or something, and almost like a clan or tribe or something. Yeah.
It's clan tag. Gamers know what I mean. It's
right.
Clan tag.
Question. You've said others near. Oh, yeah, we already did that one. Question. Have you a tail like normal reptiles? Answer. Do you see one? No, we have no visible tail. If you look at our skeleton, there is only a small rounded bone at the end of our spine behind the pelvis. This is a useless rudiment of the tail our ancestors, but this is not visible from the outside. Oh, our embryos have tails during the first months of development, but these tails disappear before they're born. A tail makes only sense for a primitive species which tries to walk on two legs and must hold the balance of the tail. But our skeletons had changed during evolution, and our spine is very nearly in the same shape as yours. So we need no tail to stay on 2 feet. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Question, you said that you were born in a different way to us. Do you lay eggs? Answer, yes, but not like your birds or primitive reptiles. Actually, the embryo grows in a protein liquid inside the mother's womb, but there's also an egg-shaped but very thin chalk hull around it that fills the whole womb. The embryo inside this hull is completely autarky from the mother's body, and it has every substance it needs to develop inside the chalk hull. There's also a cord like your navel cord, which is connected to the point hidden behind the back plates. When the baby is going to be born, the whole egg is pressed through the vagina, covered in the slimy protein substance that the baby came out of the soft egg after some minutes. These two horns on our middle finger were instinctively used from babies to break through the chalk hole to take their first breath. Our young are not so large as your babies when they are born. They are between 30 and 35 of your centimeters tall, and the egg is around 40 centimeters tall. This is because our vagina is smaller than a human one, but we grow to a normal size of 1.6 to 1.8 meters. Interesting.
So it's eggs and vaginal birth.
Right.
Altogether.
But like a soft egg.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah.
What about your body temperature? You said you enjoy to lay in the sun. What effect has this to your organism? Answer, we are no mammals, and as reptiles, our body temperatures depend on the temperature of our surrounding. If you touch my hand with your hand, you will maybe feel that it is colder than yours because of our normal body temperature is around 33 degrees Celsius. If we sit in the sun, especially naked and with our row of small back plates in the sun, our body temperature can rise up for 8 or 9 degrees within minutes. This rise causes a production of many enzymes and hormones in our body, our heart and brain, and every organ becomes more active, and we feel then very, very good. You humans only enjoy being in the sun, but for us, it is the greatest pleasure you can imagine, maybe like your sexual excitement. We also enjoy swimming in very warm water or other liquids to rise our body temperatures. If we are for some hours in the shadow or our temperature goes back to 30, 33 degrees, this causes no harm to us, but we feel much better in the sun. We have artificial sun rooms in the underground, but this is not the same for us as like the real sun.
Okay.
It's all pretty interesting. How much further in this first interview? It's quite long. Maybe we just go a little further. We're actually getting close to the end here, but let's keep going for a little bit.
Yeah, let's keep going a bit.
Question, what do you eat? Generally, various things like you, flesh, fruit, vegetables, special kinds of fungus from subterranean farms, and other things. We can also eat and digest some substances which are poisonous for you. The main difference between you and us is that we must eat flesh because our body needs the proteins. We can't live completely vegetarian like your kind because our digestion would stop working and we would die after some weeks or maybe months without flesh. Many of us eat raw flesh or other things which would be disgusting for you. Personally, I prefer cooked flesh and the surface fruits like apples or oranges. Question, can you tell me something about the natural history of and evolution of your species? How old is your species? Have you evolved from primitive reptiles as mankind has evolved from apes? Oh, this is a very long and complex story, and it sounds certainly unbelievable to you, but it's the truth. I will try to explain it in short. Around 65 million years ago, many of our advanced ancestors from the dinosaur race died in a great global cataclysm. The reason for this destruction was not a natural disaster, an asteroid impact as your scientists believe falsely, but a war between two enemy alien groups that took mainly place in the orbit and high atmosphere of your planet. According to our limited knowledge about the early days of this global war, was the first alien war on planet Earth, but it was definitely not the last. And a future war is coming soon, while a Cold War, as you call it, between alien groups is ongoing since the last 73 years on your planet. The opponents in this 65 million year old war were two advanced alien species, whose both names are again not pronounceable to your tongues. But I'm able to say them, but it would hurt your ear if I tell you the names in their original way. One race was humanoid like your species, but much older, and was from this universe, from a solar system in the star constellation you call Procyon.
Procyon,
Procyon, today in your maps. The other species, about which we know not so much, was a reptilian species, but they have nothing to do with our own species because we have evolved from local saurians without exterior influence, except the successful manipulation of our own genes by us. More about that later. The advanced reptilian species came not from this universe, but from how should I explain it to you? Your scientists have not really understood the true nature of the universe because your illogical mind is not able to see the easiest things and relies on wrong mathematics and numbers. This is part of the genetic programming of your kind, to which I will come later. Let me say that you are nearly as far away from understanding the universe as you were 500 years ago. To use a term you will maybe understand, the other species came not from this universe, but from another bubble in the foam of the omniverse. You would call it maybe another dimension, but this is not the right word to describe it correctly. By the way, the term dimension is generally wrong in the way you understand it. The fact that you should remember is the advanced species are able to walk between bubbles by use of what you would call quantum technology, and sometimes in special ways only by the use of their mind. My own species had also advanced mental abilities in comparison to your species, but we are not able to do the matter string bubble changing without technology. But other species on this planet are able, and this looks to you like magic as it had to your ancestors. Back to our own history, the first species, the humanoids, had reached Earth around 150 years before the Reptilians, and they built some colonies on the former continents. There was a large colony on the continent you call Antarctica today, and another one in the continent you call Asia today. These people, together with animal-like saurians on the planet without problems.
They lived, yeah.
Oh, right. When the advanced reptilian species arrived on the system, the humanoid colonists, Procyon, tried to communicate peacefully, but they were not successful, and a global war started within months. You must understand that both species were interested in this young planet, not for his biology and underdeveloped species, but for one reason: raw materials, especially copper. Where's the copper? There we go. To understand this reason, you must know that copper is a very important material for some advanced species, even today, because it is, together with some unstable materials, able to produce new stable elements if you induce high electromagnetic field in the right angle with a high nuclear radiation field to produce an overcrossing or of fluctuating fields. The fusion of copper with other elements is such a magnetic/radiation field chamber can produce a force field of special nature that is very useful for various technological tasks. But the base of this is an extremely complex formula you are not able to discover because of the restrictions of your simple mind. Both species wanted to have copper of planet Earth, and for this reason they fought a not very long war in space and orbit. The humanoid species seemed to be successful during the first time, but in the last battle, the Reptilians decided to use a mighty experimental weapon, a special kind of fusion bomb, which should destroy the life forms on the planet, but should not harm the valuable raw materials in the copper. The bomb was fired from space and detonated at a point of your planet you call Middle America today. As it detonated in the ocean, it produced an unpredictable fusion with hydrogen, and the very effect was much stronger than the Reptilians had expected. A deadly radiation, an overproduction of fusion oxygen, a fallout of different elements, and a nuclear winter for nearly 200 years were the result. Most of the humanoids were killed, and the Reptilians lost their interest on the planet after some years for even for us, unknown reasons, maybe because of the radiation. Planet Earth was on its own again, and the animals on the surface died. By the way, one result of the fusion bomb was the fallout of different elements and materials created in the burning process, and one of those materials was iridium. Your human scientists today see the iridium concentration in the ground as evidence of an asteroid impact that killed the dinosaurs. That is not true, but how should you know that? Well, most of the dinosaurs died, not all in the detonation, but in the bad things which came after the war, especially in the nuclear winter and in the fallout. Nearly all dinosaurs and reptilians were dead within the next 20 years. Some of them, especially those in the ocean, were able to survive for the next 200 to 300 years in this changed world, but these species also died because the climate had changed. The nuclear winter ended after 200 years, but it was colder on Earth than before. Despite the cataclysm, some species were able to survive. Fish, like the sharks, birds, little creepy mammals, your ancestors, various reptiles like crocodiles, and there was a special kind of a small but advanced dinosaurs which had developed together with the last large animal reptilians like the species you call Tyrannosaurus. This new reptile was walking on two legs and looked a little bit like your reconstruction of Iguanodon. It originated in this family, but it was smaller, around 1.5 meters tall, with some humanoid features, and changed bone structures, a larger skull and brain, a hand with a thumb which was able to grab things, a different organism and digestion, advanced eyes in the middle of the head like your eyes, and most important, with a new and better brain structure. This was our direct ancestor.
So these are like mutated dinosaurs after the fallout of the fusion bomb.
Right. Pretty fascinating stuff.
Dude. Yeah. That was just the first one, so maybe next time we'll read some more of this.
Yeah, I think we should keep going. We're barely into it. We could do a whole nother episode.
Yeah.
It's a super fascinating, like, even if you treat it as sci-fi, like it's an interesting thought experiment to like consider possibilities like this. Because the thing is like 56 million years ago, the things that we get as evidence, like fossils and little bits and pieces of the life back then, it is such a small slice of everything that was there, because not everything that lived back then was lucky enough to be fossilized and found by us. Right. So
yeah, you're seeing such a small percentage of what actually was living on Earth at the time and what was going on.
Right. So it's really interesting to consider the idea. You ever heard the like cerulean hypothesis?
Yeah.
This is like a thing that like actual like scientists talk about, which is this idea like, let's just say speculatively, like just, you know, throw it out there. Like, what if there was an advanced intelligent species on the Earth, say in the time of the dinosaurs? What would we expect to have here today in the modern world that we could detect through science as evidence of its existence? And when you go back that far, right, it's hard to think that there would be much evidence left at all.
Yeah, there would be nothing.
So
yeah, I mean, and that ties into like the cyclical nature of these things, and like maybe there is some sort of like seed bank of our DNA close enough to where if we ever get hit by something and wiped out, it's gonna like seep back in, and you know, you get wiped out one day and you're back the next day. Obviously the scale is off, but
yeah, I like the sort of like sociology of this, you know, like the sort of or anthropology or whatever you would call it, of like studying this descriptions anyway of what this like species is like, this reptilian species.
Yeah. Man, it would be fascinating to see an alien if they're real.
Right. Well, alien's not the right word.
Not in this case, yeah.
They would have been here and evolved here way before us.
Yep.
If this is true.
All right, y'all. Well, this was a fun one.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, if you're listening on just a podcast platform and you want to get some videos, check out our YouTube. You want to get the videos in with the podcast, check out our YouTube and our Rumble. We post our uploads on Instagram and Facebook. And if you want to email us, it's host@dualitycheck.net. And you can check out our website at dualitycheck.net.
It'll have links to all of the different platforms that we're available on, and also detailed show notes for every episode, including all the links, all the like everything on Twitter, all the videos, like all the images we reference, everything's there on the website for each episode. So
easy
enjoy
peasy.
that.
Just go to the website and you can find what you're looking for.
Dualitycheck.net. You just click episodes and pick one.
And everybody who commented this week, we appreciate you. Even if you commented 3 months ago and we just got to you, we appreciate you. Amy, you as well. So, all right, we'll see y'all next week.
Adios.
Later.